Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your daily NVIDIA report for Friday, March 7th, 2025. Let's take a look at the charts. I'll start with the weekly chart. This is kind of the big picture we've been talking about for over a month. Selling upward retracements to the 138.10 descending channel top, then anticipating bearish rotation to the 107.23 channel bottom. Of the two, 107.23 is by far the more significant because it spans some 6, 8, 9 months of activity. It may well contain selling through the second quarter, and from there we can rotate higher. We don't have it labeled, but it would be something along the lines of that trend line in the lower 160s once we test 107.23. And that is the big picture. If, however, we close below 107.23, and I've got 107.20 actually on the daily chart. So I'm using that as our level today. The 1% violation threshold is significant. This is a 6 to 8 month channel bottom, if you will, and 1% below 107.20 is 106.12. In other words, if we close today, Friday, at or below 106.12, we have, at least by one serious measure, a significant longer-term sell signal. But I do think it's worth waiting, if you will, for also a settlement below 104.76. I mean, as we continue through next week and into the following, these 2 points, 104.76 to 107.20, will continue to diverge. But for right now, they're a pretty good range. I'm still going to call 104.76 the slippage factor below 107.20. But if you're bottom picking the market, in the 107.20 area, and that is the viable approach. Maybe you're short and you're just covering a short position. Maybe you've been short, since the upper 130s, 136.30 on the daily chart, covering a short position at 107.20. I wouldn't stay long over the weekend if we do close at 106.12 or lower. So even if we close inside this pocket, above 104.76 and below 107.20. If we close below 107.20 by that full 1% margin of 106.12 or lower, I'm not crazy about holding a long position over the weekend. I think it's just a safer bet. And if we close today below 104.76, which I'm also not expecting, but it is certainly possible being a Friday and all, then we do enter a long-term sell signal. That is your indication to not only exit a long position, but consider reversing and playing the short side into the 70s. 76.33 becomes our next 2 to 3 month or sooner objective following a weekly settlement today below 107.23, 107.20 on the daily chart. 106.12 is 1% of that. And yes, closing below 104.76, that descending channel bottom is probably the safer bet before aggressively playing the short side over the weekend and actually through the rest of March and into April. This could be a 2 to 3 week move with a bit of a meltdown. I think this is what's happening, this rounded top that could actually cascade into a more accelerated descent. This could also take the better part of 2 months. Any way you slice it, closing today below 104.76, I'm expecting 76.33 as we continue into the second quarter, where we could actually bottom out through the rest of the year and recover nicely as we move through the rest of the year. But this downside is not expected unless we close today below 104.76. Until then, you are bottom picking the 107 handle, bottom picking it, and I'm going to talk to kind of the 2 to 3 day swing traders. So there's your 107.20. I've got 109.48, 106.77. This is a session containment area. I can't consider this a 3 to 5 day swing trade. At least selling it and then anticipating 107.20, because you could do that in the scope of a day, given recent volatility. But what I will say, and let's go back to this chart here. I've got 110.11. We came very close to testing that on Thursday. 110.22 was the low. Above 110.11, just a soft intraday pivot point. If we break it, 107.20 in reach, but holding above it does allow 116.77. That is a 2-week descending channel top, but it's dropping at a very steep pace. And so I like to rely more on less angular line studies. In other words, this horizontal structure at 119.48, I think that that is your clear go with buy signal. So after coming pretty darn close to testing 107.20 on Thursday, if we happen to close Friday above 119.48, that does pivot our near-term dynamic into the bullish column. And I would expect 136.30. This could be by the end of next week, could also take the better part of 2 weeks. Closing above 119.48 is a go with buy signal. 3 to 5 day and 1 to 2 week swing traders into the mid to upper 130s again. 136.30 is the same formation we find on the weekly chart at 138.10. This area then able to contain buying through the rest of March, and from here we can fall away again. We can fill this wedge out for the next couple of months, perhaps. I'm not expecting that, but it is certainly possible. And if or once we close above 138.10, longer term bullish continuation into later year possible at 178.85. But, you know, along the way, I do have a kind of a low to mid 160s. Where is it? You know, I'm just going to actually show it here once again, that as we test the 107.20, assuming it holds, we can round up within several months to this trend line, which would become a channel top in the low 160s, 2 to 3 month target above 107.20 once tested. And this is an opportunity then to talk to you 2 to 3 week and 2 to 3 month position players. 2 to 3 week position players can bottom pick 107.20 in anticipation of 136.30 and dropping. If you're an options trader, you might reach for 130 or 135 strike out of the money calls that don't expire. I'd go 4 to 6 weeks on that 2 to 3 week play. Or as we're testing 107.20, you might reach for 165 strike out of the money calls that don't expire. I'd go 6 months out on that 2 to 3 month play, just as an example. Is there anything else to say? I don't think so. Please click like, share, subscribe. Oh, I know. I don't think I'd mentioned, you know, I record Tesla and NVIDIA side by side, and sometimes I forget, I kind of merge the two in my mind. I don't think I'd mentioned to you that this week we put out 2 stock picks at wickedstocks.com on Taiwan Semiconductor and Oracle. You can see both of them by going to wickedstocks.com and taking advantage of our 5-day free trial, where you'll see both Oracle that was put out on Thursday and Taiwan Semiconductor that was put out on Tuesday. You can also see recent stock picks from the last couple of weeks, some of which are still highly relevant. You'll also be able to see daily Triple Q, daily SPY analysis, weekly Apple stock, weekly S&P 500, and weekly NASDAQ 100, all for free. By taking advantage of our 5-day free trial. Now, I will be back Sunday afternoon with Monday's NVIDIA report, and you have a fabulous weekend.